Welcome back to another episode of the Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. If you're listening on audio form, where we get your podcasts, being Apple and or Spotify, please hit that follow button and please leave a rating and a review will be much appreciated. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up, and that notify bell so you can get notified whenever new videos become available. Believe it or not, Kings basketball is back after 6 months, kind of. Just preseason game number one, where the Kings fall in a losing effort in preseason game number one, 122-112 to the Northern California rivals, the Golden State Warriors. And you couldn't have had a more perfect debut for the newest Sacramento King, DeMar DeRozan, who was perfect from the field, 6 of 6, and did make a 3-point shot, finished with 15 points. The starters for both teams, Sacramento and Golden State, only played the first half. But what we saw from this Kings team, the Kings put up 68 points in the first half. And I'll say this, and the starters for this first preseason game were De'Aaron Fox, Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis. And I'll say this, I'll make a prediction right now. I believe that what you saw in that game, in that first preseason game last night, that will be your starting five when they tip off the ball for reals in a few weeks on the 24th at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because I believe that will be the starting five. You had DeMar DeRozan, 15 points. De'Aaron Fox, 11. Nobody played more than 20 minutes. Again, both Golden State and Sacramento did not play the regulars in the second half. And we'll get more on the guys who I liked off the bench here in a minute. But in that first half for the Kings, you could see how lethal this Kings offense could be this season. There was a lot to like in that first half. One thing that I really liked was Keegan Murray locking up Steph Curry in that first half. Like the defense that the strides that Keegan Murray has made on the defensive end, and this being his third year in the NBA, is absolutely remarkable. The strides that he's taken on that side of the floor, because we know what he can do on the other side of the ball on the offensive end. And yeah, last season was a down year for Keegan Murray on that side of the ball. But we saw Keegan Murray guard some of the best players last year in the NBA. And there was that one sequence, Keegan Murray locking up Steph Curry there late in the first half, that led to a missed 3-point shot for the Golden State Warriors in the corner. We saw Domantas Sabonis, after on a fast break, pull up for a midi. And I hope he takes more of those mid-range shots, because I think with the addition of DeMar DeRozan, I think you're going to see Sabonis take more of those wide open shots because you could see teams giving it to him. Let him have that. See if he can prove to make those shots. And I think you'll see Sabonis take more of those mid-range shots. We saw the DHO action between DeRozan and Sabonis, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. De'Aaron Fox still the quickest guard in the NBA. Malik Monk, his first action since his injury last season that took him out for the remainder of the season and for those 2 play-in games for the Kings. Alex Len, just a reliable backup big for Domantas Sabonis and Alex Len. Can't say enough how much I appreciate Alex Len as a backup big. 2 guys who I thought played well. But in that game, the bright spot of this game was the first half and that starting 5 of DeRozan, Keegan, Domas, Keon, and Fox. But I think the most impressive guys off the bench were Isaac Jones and Boogie Ellis. The Kings have 3. They got 3 two-way contract players. But now you got 4 guys on this team fighting for one spot on this team. And that's going to be a good battle to watch in this preseason. And I thought Isaac Jones and Boogie Ellis really played well in this game, in this preseason game. Boogie Ellis, 16 minutes off the bench, 10 points, 4-10 from the field. The Kings did not shoot the ball well as a team from the 3-point line. You look at Golden State, they shot the ball really well from the 3-point arc. They had 15 threes in the first half. If you want to really break down the preseason, and Mike Brown said this in his post-game news conference. It's a good thing that this was a preseason game because of all the open shots that Golden State got on the perimeter. They shot the ball really well, including former King Buddy Hield making his. And this was the second preseason game for the Golden State Warriors. They won their first game in Hawaii on a buzzer beater. So this was the Kings' first preseason game. And they play these two same teams. They play each other again Friday night, but this time in San Francisco. But if there's one thing this team needs to maybe work on a little bit, is they got to be more physical on the defensive end. I don't think they were that as physical in this first preseason game. That's what preseason's all about, is working on this stuff, getting it out before the regular season begins here on the 24th. So that is that. But I'm going to play this clip of DeMar DeRozan talking about his first action in front of the home fans in the preseason opener last night.
Especially as a competitor, so to get that, reception knowing it was just preseason was definitely cool.
As things were clicking for you guys, it seemed like it was a big smile on your face. You hit your first 4 shots, you hit 6. What was in that early going where it just looked like you were having so much fun?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working extremely hard all week, and it's been a long week of just constantly, beating each other up, pushing, competing, trying to learn. I know for me, learning offense, trying to make it easier on myself and easier on other guys. So, that's just a credit of just how hard we've been working and get out there, finally go against somebody else. It felt a lot easier in comparison of, us beating up each other.
Any nerves?
I was kind of nervous, more so I think was just anxious, especially, the reality, like, even driving to the arena today, it was first time, first feeling, everything kind of new, new routine of everything and, stepping into a new arena, so it was kind of good nerves, but, I was more so excited.
Did it feel smooth out there? It looked really smooth.
No, it felt real smooth. And that's a good sign because we still got so much we need to clean up and build on. I'm pretty sure watch film tomorrow, work on stuff and continue to, clean everything up. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Defensively, giving up 28
Yeah.
threes when you come into this season because a new addition to this team. Typically in the past, 3-point defense has been a struggle for this team. How can you guys get better?
Yeah, communication. We got to be more aggressive, understanding what teams like to do and take away their comfort zone. And that's absolutely too many threes to give up. They was already in a rhythm. Teams like that, if you give them a quarter or two to catch fire, it's hard to shut it off. So just being more communicative and aggressive, from the gate.
Did you feel
And I thought, just in that little soundbite by DeMar DeRozan, post game, the communication defensively, was not there in that first preseason game, last night, along with the physicality, and that's what preseason's about, to work on that, to get that down before you get started for reals here on the 24th against Minnesota. So, and another thing DeMar DeRozan pointed out there, it's good to go against another team for the first time instead of your same teammates that you do every day, that they've been doing every day in training camp here for the last week or so. So just to go against another team for the first time, it's fun to do, and to do it against the Golden State Warriors. So, and now here's De'Aaron Fox after the game.
I mean, he got to his spots, and like we said before, teams are trying to go under on him, and that just allows him to get to a spot even that much easier. And then having a guy like Domas who can hit him if he curls, hit him if he goes back door, just trying to make the game easier for him.
De'Aaron, for being your first preseason game, and clearly they had played before, your offense was very smooth for how early it is in camp. Is that surprising to you that it looks so I don't know, high level?
I mean, we didn't shoot the ball well from three, but I mean, we've had a lot of practices, even going against guys who know exactly what the play is. So I wouldn't really say it was surprising. I think that first half, only having 4 turnovers is definitely good. If you can keep that up throughout the entire season, you're in a great position. But I think I don't think our offense really surprised us, no.
Kings fans get their first taste of what DeRozan can bring, and especially early on, you guys had a lot of smiles on your face, him included. Just how much fun was that on the offensive end, and did that look like what you guys have been going through over the past couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, bringing in that type of talent, like you, especially guys who are extremely unselfish, like you enjoy playing together, and obviously he makes tough shots as well. But I mean, I think it's definitely a joy playing together, and we know what we need to do. We know what we need to what we really need to focus on. And offense isn't that problem.
And I thought, just right there, I thought De'Aaron Fox kind of was spot on. Offense, you could see how good this team can be this season offensively. And I said it earlier. This offense of the Kings, they could have the opportunity to be one of the best offenses in the NBA this season. With what they can do. And I said it earlier. I think if this offense lives up to the hype, they got a chance to be lethal. And there was a lot of talk when this deal was made, bringing in DeMar DeRozan, about spacing. But there was a point in this game in the first half, you got DeMar DeRozan in the corner, and you got Steph Curry like bear hugging DeMar DeRozan, and you got Domantas Sabonis handling the ball, finds De'Aaron Fox for a layup. He missed it, got his own rebound to put it back. I think the offense is going to be fine. What sucks is we don't get to see Trey Lyles, Kevin Huerter, or Jordan McLaughlin, who are all out injured. You got Kevin Huerter still recovering from his shoulder injury. You got Trey Lyles, who injured his groin in a workout this offseason. You got an ankle injury with Jordan McLaughlin. So it would be nice to see those guys on the floor with this group. So, but here's Coach Mike Brown after the game.
Books for threes made. So I'm glad this was a preseason game. Obviously, that's where it started for us. We did not do a great job communicating. We did not do a great job with our ball pressure. We did not do a great job with our physicality. And so they got open looks from the three-point line because we were bad with all of those things. When you're not up guarding your man and you're watching the ball, if he doesn't have the ball, if he moves, he's going to beat you because he knows when he's moving. So you're reacting to him. And so our physicality has to be better. Our communication in screening situations, whether it's on the ball or off the ball, has to be better because we got cracked too many times. And then we wouldn't talk, and two guys would go with the guy that's diving to the rim and leaving a guy open, or vice versa. Our three-point defense, obviously shooting 54% from the three, was not good. And they took 52 threes because 30 of them were probably wide open, and they had no other choice but to shoot the three. Other than that, I thought, offensively, we scored 68 points in the first half. And our guys did a nice job trying to execute, trying to move the ball, trying to touch the paint, get the ball out. Did a great job with spacing, a decent job with our pace. And so there were a lot of good things offensively in the first half, and then we had a few bright moments in the second half on that end of the floor. But this game came down to, no matter who was on the floor, us being able to defend the three-point line, which we obviously did not do a good job of, and that's why Golden State got the win.
Yep. And again, that's what preseason's about. To work on these things, to get better. You look at film to see what you need to fix, and the communication on the defensive end has to get better, and the physicality on that side of the floor on the defensive end also has to get better if you want to get to where the Kings want to go in a stacked Western Conference this year, because I believe there are 13 Even though there's 15 teams in the West, I think 13 teams have a legitimate opportunity of making the playoffs. And what we saw in the first preseason game, offense, I think offense is going to be fine if once you get people back. Malik Monk looks like the same Malik Monk, but once you get guys back like a Kevin Hurdle, a Trey Lyles, and I really want to see Jordan McLaughlin with this squad. It's the defensive end, and I think once you got 4 more preseason games to really hone in and fix your mistakes before you tip it off for reals here coming up in a couple weeks against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But for the preseason opener, it was a sellout. Who like the best fans in the NBA, like a preseason opener felt like a regular season game. What can you say about Sacramento fans? Like, you just can't, like, it's the best fans in the league. So shout out, just that quick shout out to the fans who went to the game. So that will do it here for this episode of the Kings related podcast, as the Kings dropped their preseason opener to the Golden State Warriors 122-112. Preseason game number 2 comes to you Friday from San Francisco's Chase Center. And I would expect maybe we'll see more of the starters maybe play into the third quarter in that game, maybe to get a little more action together as we ramp up to the regular season. But thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Kings related podcast. Don't forget, if you're listening on audio form on Apple and on Spotify, please hit that follow button and please leave a rating and review. And we'll see you next time here on the Kings related podcast. And go Kings!